Hey YouTube, it's Luna and today's topic is intermittent fasting. First of all, I will explain what intermittent fasting is. So I guess most of you know already what intermittent fasting is, but you never know who jumps into my channel, so I will explain it again. Then I explain the different methods of intermittent fasting and of course the benefits. And last but not least, topics that come with intermittent fasting, such as longevity, aging theories, and calorie density. Yeah, that's it for today. So let's go straight into it. And let's start with intermittent fasting. What is it? So intermittent fasting simply means you don't eat for a certain period of time. So it means you shorten your eating window. Most people consume their whole calories in 8 hours and they fast for 16 hours. That's intermittent fasting, but there are other methods. So for example, alternate fasting, it's called alternate fasting, and it's also a method of intermittent fasting, which simply means you eat one day and the day after you fast, and you repeat it over and over again, so you always have one fasting day and one eating day. Then there is a second method, it's called the 5-2 method, and this simply means you eat for 5 days a week and you fast for 2 days a week. Also very simple. And yes, the last method, and I think it's the most popular method, is the 68 method. So 68 fasting method. Of course, it's obvious you eat for 8 hours a day, you fast for 60 hours. So yes, that's it. And it's not about restriction, it's not about calorie restriction or something like that, it's not a diet, it's really just a method to give your body a break from food. And that's very important, because if your body always have to digest food, you cannot concentrate on other important things in your body. So this leads me to my third point, the benefits of intermittent fasting. The benefits are mental sharpness, optimized hormones, weight loss, lower inflammation in the body, in the whole body, then disease protection, and intermittent fasting increases the good gut bacteria, improves athletic performance as well. Productivity is also a benefit, because you can be very productive if you do intermittent fasting, due to the reason that you don't have to think about food all day long. You have your hours in which you eat, and then you are free. You don't have to prepare your food, you don't have to go out to buy stuff, you don't have to think about food anymore, and sometimes it's really freeing, and yes, it's nice in my opinion. So then there is the last benefit. I mean, it's not the last, I just named a few here. So the digestive system has a break, and I think that's the most valuable benefit, because your body can really concentrate on healing and on renewing processes, you know. Yes, and there is another term, it's called autophagy. Autophagy means the surviving of the fittest cells in your body and to get rid of the old cells. So it's an anti-aging mode, which leads to much quicker regeneration in every area. So not only regeneration from sports, but also regeneration from mental exhausting or regeneration from the cells, regeneration from everything. Yes, and there is another very big benefit that comes with intermittent fasting, and it's the human growth hormone, HGH. And this is a very important hormone, actually, because human growth hormone is responsible for quicker regeneration, and it helps to build muscles and to burn fat at the same time. And to be honest, this is what most of us want to have. So there are actually some bodybuilders who inject human growth hormone, but it's, of course, it's not legal and it's not natural anyways, but it's a way to build faster muscles and to get rid of excess fat. So it's a method, some bodybuilders use it, so why not making use of human growth hormone naturally? And intermittent fasting is the way to go. Because if you fast for, let's say, at least 12 hours, then your body starts to build more human growth hormone. Human growth hormone cannot be released if insulin is up. So if we consume food, we consume especially carbohydrates, our insulin goes up. And if insulin is up, human growth hormone cannot be released. And that's the reason why we shouldn't eat all day long. And most people, they start eating, let's say, 6 or 7 a.m. in the morning, and then they continue eating all day long. They have lunch, they have snacks in between. Then they come home from work and they have a huge dinner. And some people, of course, they have, after dinner, they have dessert or maybe chips in front of the TV. And I know it's cozy and some people really enjoy it, but if you want to build muscles and lose excess fat and want to be full of energy, intermittent fasting is definitely the better way. There are also some very interesting studies on intermittent fasting, and they used rats and mice. That's not good, but they found out that intermittent fasting has a huge effect on aging. So the rats who don't eat all day long, they did fasting for 16 or sometimes 20 hours. They stayed youthful much longer and they were fitter and they lived longer. And that's because of the autophagy, because the cells can regenerate faster and you can get rid of old cells and cellular waste on the same time, and that's a big benefit. And the study also showed, by the way, the study is from 1930, it's very old, so it's not a new thing. And it's of course it's not a new thing, because also people in nature, our ancestors, they lived in nature and they don't had access to food all the time. It's a really natural thing too to do intermittent fasting, because you don't have food all the time. Usually we don't have food all the time, and nowadays we have food available 24 hours. So yes, we have to think about it if this is really necessary, and it's not. So the study was from the Cornell University in 1930. It showed that intermittent fasting can be really helpful to stay youthful longer and to slow down aging. Yes, and this has also to do with caloric restriction. I mean, I don't like the word restriction, because I think restriction is also linked to failure. Because if we restrict ourselves, no matter if it's with food or any other things, then we cannot do it long term. So we go back to old habits, maybe to bad habits, maybe worse than before. So restriction is not Yes, but they called it caloric restriction. I would call it optimized calorie intake instead of restriction, because we are used to eat too much food most of the time, most of us. Of course, there are other extremes who eat too less, but the average person, I think, is consuming too much calories, especially too dense calories. So the rats in the study who had an optimized calorie intake, they lived longer. The production of free radicals decreased, the antioxidant enzyme production increased, and yes, and there were many benefits. All the benefits I told you before, they discovered them with the rats who did intermittent fasting. Yes, and there are some biomarkers which describe aging. So if we age, there are some factors who go up and some factors who go down. So if we age, usually blood pressure, cholesterol, glucose, insulin, and oxidative stress goes up, and immune response, muscle mass, bone density, tissue elasticity, and learning and new protein synthase goes down. And this is the description of aging. And all these things, all these biomarkers can be slowed down if you do intermittent fasting and if you practice it in any way. So this is quite interesting to know, I think. Now this leads me to my last point, and it's caloric density. So if we consume the right food and the right food with the right calories, then it's much easier to do intermittent fasting. Because imagine, you eat a big piece of bread with cheese or bacon and maybe an egg, and this is very high calorie dense food, and of course you are satiated for a few hours, but your body is not filled with nutrients. So your brain will tell you, oh, I'm still hungry, I need more food, I need more food, I need more food in order to get those nutrients. But if you are consuming again the same food with no nutrients and no minerals and vitamins, then your brain will not stop telling you that you should eat more. So you will feel constantly hungry, and then of course it's difficult to stay on track with intermittent fasting because you are always hungry. And that's not a nice feeling. So what should we do instead? You should consume food which is really high in nutrients and minerals. For example, fruits and veggies. Who thought? Yes, if we eat more food with a higher water content and a high fiber content and with some healthy fats, vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, phytonutrients, then we will be satiated for much longer than we would be if we consume, let's say, animal products. So eating more and consuming less calories, does this sound good? I think so. So we can really eat in abundance if we stick to veggies and fruits. So you can have all the fruits you like, and there are so many different fruits and so many different veggies. It's really not boring, and it will never be. The variety is amazing, and we can change things up every day, and it's not boring, and it's so colorful and beautiful and nourishing. So I really cannot stress it enough to consume fruits and vegetables. And somehow it's always the conclusion of my video, of all my videos. you should eat more fruits and vegetables. And the way to start is easy. Just incorporate more fruits. Start with a raw fruit breakfast, with a smoothie, with green juice, whatever. Have some fruits and nice salads for lunch, and then you do intermittent fasting and your body is filled with nutrients and you feel satiated and full until the next morning, and then you can start again. And that's the best way to go, because we have all the benefits. We can slow down aging, we can stay clear in our minds, and we can have a productive day. We don't have to stress out about food anymore, and we are good. So I really would like to know in the comments below if you're already into this stuff, or if you never heard before of intermittent fasting, or yes, just let me know where you are at the moment and if you going to try it. And if you try, please let me know how it works for you. It's interesting for me. And yes, that's it for today's video. By the way, I have a beautiful candle here. I don't know if you can see. It's really nice and it's so cozy because it's getting cold outside. Especially here in Germany, Nuremberg, it's winter, really winter right now. Freezing cold. And I have tea, so everything is fine. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Like always, you can hit the red button, but you don't have to. And I wish you a beautiful, nice day wherever you are in the world. Enjoy the winter. I don't know if winter is enjoyable, but we try our best, right? And I see you in the next video. Peace and so much love. Bye, people.